I don't really know how to start this. I should have done this earlier in the day. This video has been a long time coming. It's weird to look at myself in the face right here, but this video has been a long time coming in terms of like I uh I had thought to just because I'm on my MacBook. I thought to just turn on the camera and say a couple words for a while now, like probably a month, because I haven't like posted on this channel in like a while, and, like not consistently for even longer than that. So um, I hate that I did this like this late in the day. It's so like quiet. I could just hear myself echo. It's not a good feeling. Um, I guess I just wanted to get on here and give a couple thoughts on just everything that had happened. With this channel. I never had a lot of traction on the channel anyway. So, but I just wanted it to be out there. Uh, it just went downhill in terms of like, uh, situational things. Stuff got in the way, and I don't know. I just kind of let it go. It wasn't. I have, if I'm being honest, I've had a lot of recent struggles that have affected me, and but that didn't get in the way initially. I figured that stuff was going downhill, so I kind of backed off a little bit. But if I'm being honest, I over anticipated at the beginning, and I just stopped posting. And I don't know if that was necessarily a bad thing. It just was because I definitely wasn't gonna be able to handle it, considering what had happened whilst I was gone. But and especially in those early moments. But I don't know. It just kind of slipped away from me. I started this in January in the winter this year. Yeah, this little while away now, and I don't know. It started. If I'm being honest, it started, and I'm gonna get a little deeper here in the way I talk about this. Um, so on this channel, I don't know if you're watching anything else that I posted on here, but on this channel it was really mainly just reactions. It wasn't like me just talking like this, and I could talk to myself pretty uh easily. Like it's a little weirder seeing my face right here, but um I don't know. I've always, as a kid, I've always been able to have conversations in my mind. Like, I think that's a normal thing. Like, just not conversations with myself in particular. Just like when I have a thought, it verbalizes mentally. Like I, not all the time, obviously, but like whenever, like I remember being in class and like thinking about whatever they're talking about, and which wasn't an often thing. I struggled a lot in school. Like not like it was an intelligence thing, but more of like a just a focus thing. I was a bad kid in school, considering you know I was just a bad kid in school overall because of misguidance. But fuck this is where all right. I need to stop cussing. I don't want to get on here cussing. I don't want to. I don't like to get off track. I do that often. Like I easily get swayed from what I'm talking about. Um, School. I was talking about school, and then young. Yeah, yeah. When I started this channel, yeah, I'm gonna get a little deeper into my stuff. When I started this channel, I it was like my last ditch effort at trying to like reach my unattainable goals, and not in terms of like um you gotta bear with me a little bit here. I hate to take so many breaks, but it's really hard. I don't really express too much, and I'm not gonna give you too much. I'm just gonna give you what I want, but even that is a little touchy. Ever since a child, I've had like expectations that I put on myself to be like a like something that I want to be. I think everybody in life puts themselves in a perspective where they view their future self as something better than what they currently are. But my version of what my future self would be was always super unrealistic. I dreamed too big, if that makes any sense. And not in terms of like doing everything that I wanted to do. It's just the way I went about doing it. I figured that it would be like day and night and it wouldn't be a process to it. And I almost was um, irritated by a thought of me having to start little by little in order to get the ball rolling. It was more of just me feeling like I was, you know, good enough to like I was good enough to do it, so I should just be doing it. Like it felt like if I was a good shooter, right? And I'm like, coach, put me in the game, right? But I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm just like I've just been sitting on the bench the whole time. So it's like, why would he put me in the game? You know, but in my mind, I'm like, no, why would I prove it in practice? Why would I? You know what I'm talking about? It's just I just felt entitled to it a little bit, and yeah, I'd say when I started this channel in January, it was almost just me being like, all right, well, I'm expecting this to just not blow up, but like it starts here and it's just gonna get better. And it didn't. It wasn't bad. Like I got a little bit of attention, which was good, but it plateaued. And at that point, I was having fun with it. I remember like a month in, like it rose up to like one of my videos getting like 100, 200 views, and I was like, oh, it's getting up there. And then it just plateaued. It wasn't really going up. And but I was having fun. I was just gonna keep doing it, and this self stuff got in the way, um, and that brings me to another thing with my mental health. And I hate to see this is what I mean by getting too touchy. And it's really hard for me to segue into things like this. I often put up a character whenever I'm like having to talk about something, so I deflect and like put up a character, and not like that, but just like even if you look on the channel and you go and you see some of the earlier videos, it was more like I don't know, it felt like me trying to be like somebody I wasn't. It just felt like me um and not like that I was having fun, but I noticed when I would watch the videos back, I'd be talking like certain influencers that I'd watched online, and it was just very strange. Uh, it didn't feel natural, you know, and yeah, but that's basically what happened with the channel. But I feel like I really wanted to get on here to speak more about like just give a little bit of a different view on my life in terms of mental health and just health overall. Um, this is very weird. I can like talk about this stuff, like I can think about this stuff deeply, but like expressing it is very weird. Um, I think somebody's ability to get through tough situations and like ride out the storm per se, like starts as a kid, you know. And I think naturally as humans, we can like, get through it. Our instinct is to want to live and all that. But somewhere along the lines, if a good structure isn't built around you since a kid, it's like very hard for you to have certain systems there for you to deal with issues and not just rely on something that's completely out of your control. And then if that comes down, it leaves you in a very vulnerable position. I say this because I felt like that throughout most of my life with a lot of different struggles uh, mentally, whether that was me feeling isolated, which is another big topic. I feel like everybody should have social interaction. I don't think too much. isolation is good for anybody, but again, like I said, when I was in it for a little while, when I was isolated, it didn't feel bad. It more so just felt like that was my coping at the time, but it wasn't helping. It was almost like a stalemate. It was just leaving you in a position where you weren't advancing at all, and it just, it left you vulnerable to a quick decline. It wasn't like you were consistently trying to get better. It was just you were like, um, yeah, you just feel like you're waiting. I don't know. It's hard to explain, and that's why I think everybody needs social interaction. You need people to be around, people that you enjoy their presence, people that you know that you're going through what they're going through, and then you feel that you can get through stuff easier like that when it's just you only have you to rely on. If something ends up deeply affecting you, you can't console with anybody but yourself, which is already, messed up. So it's very hard in that sense, especially if you have like you're not a good relationship with your parents, and and you're just left by yourself. It's tough, and I'm not here to touch too much on that. I'm not here to um degrade my parents or anything, but you know I think a lot of things didn't play out the way they should. Um, and that's a responsibility everybody should have. You should raise your kid with a constant reassurance, because regardless throughout life, that's what you need, to keep pushing, keep moving forward. Um, I think about, people in worse situations than mine. And I'm not in the craziest situation. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not in like some um, life ending uh, thing, but it almost like I exaggerate it to that level. Like I sit here and I analyze my problems and I sit back and I think there's somebody, a kid who's younger, who's weaker, who's going through way more across the world, who's way poorer, who's way um, weaker, who's way more ill, who's everything, And I sit and I think that that's far more common than not, because of me not being in that bad of a situation. Like I said, it's not crazy, and I feel like certain people that are going through a lot worse situations, that they might have better coping abilities than I have. Because uh, I almost make it that much worse. And what I mean by that is, somebody has to feel the love, right? I don't want to say it so blandly like that. I want to say it because I thought about that song. I can just feel the love. I can still feel the love. Kid Cudi, shout out. Um, but you gotta feel the love, man. And then like, let's say like this: if you grow up in like, I watched The City of God recently, and like those kids were fucked up. I hate to say it like that, but they were. Like, I don't want to really cuss on here, but those kids were messed up, man. It was like really poor. There's a lot of violence, a lot of guns, a lot of crime, a lot of bad police work, and um, they still found ways to be at peace, whether that be going to the beach where they were all on the beach, whether that was having their things that they needed to do. You know, the I forgot his name, but he did his camera stuff. It kept him occupied, and he had his friends. He had his circle. He was a documenter at heart. I mean, he told the whole story, right? And he had his experiences throughout his life. He let it go through him. He let life pass through him. He wasn't chasing something that was, you know, he wasn't chasing something that was putting constant stress and strain and yeah, it was putting constant pressure on him. He wasn't chasing anything. He was just living his life, and it wasn't the best life, but just the fact that he was letting it pass through him, it felt like, you know, I hadn't really done that a lot throughout my life. And I think of moments where I had, and I was very happy in those moments. So that acknowledges the emphasis on like how harmful like unchecked expectations could be, you know. And it's rough. I also feel though that somebody who grows up like that in extreme poverty also isn't told to dream a lot, right? So they're not told to expect more out of life, right? To whereas somebody who is in a pretty comfortable position might feel like they can get more comfortable, or might feel like uh, they deserve more because they don't know what it's like to really have nothing, you know. And that's rough. I think, you know, like growing up and throughout your life, the things set in place to keep you moving, if that makes sense. The things that are there for you to be like a part of society isn't what drives you. So if you think about the job that you go to, if you're going to school, you know, um, going to the store and getting your food, buying your clothes, all this stuff isn't what keeps you moving. It's more so the people. So you see everybody getting up in the morning to go to work. You feel like you have to align yourself with your peers. You go to work. You you know what I mean? You take your friends shopping with you. Um you go and buy food for you and your family. It's not like the system is put in place for you to get anything out of it that that puts you in a better position. Is more so put in place that so that it's just there for you to stay there and be a contributing factor to society, and that's what's expected. But it feels more like somebody gets the better end of the stick, and that's not to say you're getting the shit end of the stick, but more like, what am I really doing here? What am I doing with this stick, man? Because it's like, somebody's getting rich, right? If you go and you work at uh, McDonald's, right? Somebody up the chain is getting a lot more money than you are for your work. So that's not why you're there. You're not there to help McDonald's. You're not there because you feel like you can be a good piece in McDonald's, system and help the company out overall. You're there because you want to feed your family, right? And it's like, what else would you be doing? Sitting at home? It's it's almost like you can live as much as you want to live within a certain confine, put in place by people who get more out of it than you do. You know, you can't you can't you can't get more. And if you feel like you want more, or if you feel like you should get more, saying something like that is so outrageous. And then feeling like that is just shameful within yourself, right? And if you say something like that, you're crazy. All right. I don't want to, like, I don't, these are just certain thoughts that I have. I'm just expressing them. And it's really hard for me to do that sometimes because I often have like little phases of the way I go about uh, articulating my thoughts, right? And so I can sit here and I feel like I'm fairly calm. Maybe I got a little more elevated because I might have gotten a little more comfortable than I did when I started this. But uh but overall, I usually have like I can be fairly calm, and then I can be like super animated and like aggressive depending on how uh heated I feel about the topic. And then I can be super mellow, and that's mainly emotionally. If I'm dragged down, I feel like it doesn't hinder my ability to say what I want to say, but it does like affect my expression about it. And yeah, man, I thought a lot about what I was gonna say on a video like this, and it's just all slipping. Like I'm just sitting here, like in a daze. That's how I felt like with most of my current life, though. I said I wasn't gonna get too touchy, and I don't plan on it, but like you know, mentally with a certain struggle, you reach a certain point where you're at a stalemate, like I said, and you feel as though, like, not to put it so bluntly, you feel like you're just you don't feel anymore, right? It's hard. I don't know how to describe it. Like I felt angry before, and I felt like I wasn't given my just due. And then I've also felt very sad, and I felt like I let certain opportunities go, and it could have been a lot better. But right now, as of recent, it's felt more just neutral. Um, I'm gonna get a little deeper. I'm gonna give you a little more. I'm gonna get a water. Get a water. Hold on. All right. Um. What was I gonna talk about? Yeah. Let me bring it up a little bit, just because I don't want to be sitting here all sad and mopey. Like I just wanna get some thoughts out. Um, 2 years ago in 2024 in May, my depression took a crazy decline, and my anxiety took a crazy took a crazy, my anxiety went like this, and my depression also went like this. I don't, I no, my depression made me sadder, and my anxiety made me worse. Point is, that was what I was struggling with. I reached the climax, and May 17th, if I'm correct, it was a Thursday. Had Friday the next day. I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm not gonna get too in depth. I just want to give you a little. I'm gonna just give you a little piece to show you how swaggy I really am. I had an outfit picked out because I had just thrifted a blue sweater that year, and I didn't have anything that really went along with it well. So I'd wear it, but it didn't feel good. And then I got these baggy jeans, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna kill the game. I'm gonna wear these on Friday." I saved it for Friday. I got these the week before. I don't want to say that weekend before, and I was like, "I'm gonna save them for Friday." And Thursday night, I had an episode. My anxiety ramped up. It was a big deal, and I don't know what I can say on here. I don't know if the video is gonna take it down. I don't want to get too explicit, but I had called it quits. In terms of like life. I I had attempted to get out of here. Hit the exit by you know cutting up. I'm gonna just say it like that. You know what I mean? So cause I just don't want to get it. I don't want to get this video taken down. I don't expect anybody to view it a lot, but um, just for the future or whatever, I'd want to come back to it. So um, yeah, stuff got cut, medicine got taken, and I was trying to get out of here, and I did it all wrong, right? Which I'm not gonna explain how I did it all wrong because I'm not gonna promote that to anybody. If you're ever feeling suicidal, if you're ever feeling like you're gonna harm yourself or you are going or anything like that, you should talk to somebody. That's another thing with the isolation thing. I wasn't talking to anybody a lot at the time. I was just going through it. It was getting worse and worse, and I had a bad episode, man. And I don't really want to get too much into it. It's I don't want this video to be too long anyway, but I had certain issues with an injury, and it was giving me a lot of anxiety. And the part that I had injured, like, tweaked that night, and I said, you know what, I'm done. And my anxiety was so hard, like it was so intense. Like I don't know how to explain it, and I was just like, so I just acted on it. It was very impulsive though, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to correlate. That was so that whole thing, that whole all right. Go back to what we were talking about with how I'm feeling in recent times with certain struggles and the ability to comprehend a far future within my life. So I don't like I said, I'm very much at a I'm very much at a middle ground. I'm not super down, I'm not super high. I'm super like dull, if that makes any sense. But my ability to see me in the far future or even in the near future, it just isn't there. And I'm not saying I'm sitting here expecting to die or I'm sitting here like um with any intentions of acting on anything, right? But it's more so like let the cards fall how they may. And I just didn't expect that ever, because when I was going through my depression, it was very like sad and very like, I'm letting it all go for a while. And then with the anxiety, it was just like very impulsive and it was in the moment. That's when I acted on it, and that's how I ended up with my attempt. So it's super weird that now I'm feeling the same level of, disdain for my life, but like the drive behind it isn't there. It's like the car is still running, but there's no gas. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's like what's going on? It's like I never expected this. Um, where was I going with this? You know what I mean? I'm very all over the place. But um, yeah. So that's how I've been feeling as of recent. Very strange, very weird. Um, yeah, that's why everything's been going on. That's what I wanted to elaborate on. Uh, I I've been stuck for a while though. It's very weird. I'll say it like this: I'm a chronic uh, procrastinator. That's how I've been my entire life, and that's what I mean by structure not being there. There's certain things that are needed for you to do better, and I just didn't have those incentives as a child. I was very neglected by my parents, and like I said, I didn't want to shit on anybody. It's just the truth. I'm just speaking my truth, and yeah, it sucks. Um, I have a lot of moments where I'm very intrigued and um like I feel like I can do something. Like I feel like I can really get after it. And then I like dive in and then it just feels like it crashes quick, you know? And like the healthier that I got. So after my attempt 2 years ago, I was on my medication for I was on Lexapro for a year and a half, which I came off in January, and I hopped back on 2 months after in March, because I was like, yo, I can't, because I thought I could handle it. I was doing a lot better. I was like, Doc, we're good. I'm off it. And then like 2 months later, I was like, Doc, we got to get back on it, man. It's bad. I was like, it's going down, and it went down, and it's still down. But I don't know. But what was I talking about? Yeah, like a year ago, I had bought a bunch of books. A bunch of books. I'm looking at them now. I haven't been able to crack open a book since November. I read one book, Viktor E. Frankl's The Man's Search for Meaning, which, by the way, an outstanding book. The book talked about how he was a survivor of the Holocaust. And, here, let me drink some water. And it basically explored, like, certain What was I saying? See, I'm getting distracted. It basically describes certain like drives for humans and like how your he was talking about basically like the drive for human beings and how if everything is stripped away, something inside you it would still drive you to want to live. And he expressed this by saying like during the Holocaust, it was like everybody was messed up. It was a Holocaust. He said they had no clothes. He said it was cold winters. He said they would get injured, hurt. There was no medication or no medical assistance. He said they worked all day. They barely slept. They barely ate. They were frail, skinny. They were dirty because of their conditions. They didn't get to shower. They didn't. They didn't have proper sleeping arrangements. It was very uncomfortable. I mean, it was the Holocaust, and he basically said, everybody is in there, and everybody has um, all this stuff going on. And he like took a step back and he said, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth or anything. You should definitely go read the book. I'm just trying to elaborate the most I can. It's been a while, so if I'm getting anything wrong, I'm sorry. But to take a step back on it, he basically was like pointing out, nobody had anything to live for, and on top of that, everybody knew that most likely they were gonna die. I mean, people were just getting picked off and dragged to. It was like death marches where they take like super weak, prisoner, or what would you call them? Not prisoners. You'd call them like hostages. You take certain like groups of them, and like they do like long marches until they died. So they'd have to march and march and march, and they'd march all day until they died because they were just frail and weak. And then they do mass shootings, and they burn the bodies, and they do the gas chambers, and everybody basically knew that it was a slim chance of them surviving, but they still managed to strive to be alive, and they worked. His one of his main points was if you wanted to stay alive, you had to show that you were capable of work. They would often find a lot of reasons to just say, yeah, you're not able to work, and then they just send you off to die. Reading that book really put that what I was talking about earlier in terms of like feeling a certain sense of camaraderie and place within society and love throughout your environment that keeps you striving forward regardless of your situation. And it really flips it on its head, because that is like the opposite. Even though it's still even though what I talked about, like the city of God and that favela in Brazil, like being very poor, this is this is a lot worse, right? So it's the Holocaust. It's like you really have nothing to live for. Like you might have your interactions that you have with everybody else that's in there with you. That's you know that's held captive in there with you. You might have that experience, you might have that connection, but it's still a very, you know, like it's still a very like there's really no upside in terms of what to look for in the advancement of your life. It's really just you're looking at all downhill. And so and the ability to want to be alive in that scenario really like threw me for a loop, because like I said, my struggles have been so devastating to me. um there's certain expectations that I put on myself since a kid, and not being able to reach them, and like the reorganization of deadlines for me to do something great has been constant throughout my life. It's just dragged me down and down and down. And like, man, when those low points get low, they get low, man, and it sucks. And yeah, man, yeah, it sucks. Uh, Jeez, it's so sad. Oh man, I don't know what I wanted to do on here. I had a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. Like I thought about stuff like in the past couple weeks. Like I said, I wanted to do this video for a while. Like I was about to go to sleep, and I'm like, let me just do it because I'm not gonna end up doing it. I was like, I'm not gonna end up doing anything. you know, um, man, but yeah, I haven't been able to crack open a book since. It's just been like it's just been dull, and I stopped going to the gym like 3 months ago, and I wasn't even making a lot of progress, but I was just going. It was just something to do. It made me feel good, like the the exertion of energy. It was like, man, I did something. I was sweating, you know, and I stopped. I got injured. I didn't just stop because I was like, but I wasn't making a lot of progress. I was training wrong. My friends, uh, my friends had been in the gym. My friends that were training me had been in the gym for like 5 years, and I was in there with them, and we'd go all the time. Like I wasn't recovering properly, and that wasn't even a big part of it. I wasn't training right either. I was just like fiddling around. But even like I said, if I broke a sweat, I felt a bit accomplished, and leaving that behind also, you know, it 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 didn't help with the feeling of feeling like you're you know not advancing, mentally, physically, and yeah, I think you need that in your life. I think you need certain engagement throughout your life. I think it's very harmful to not have that. But I think I gotta wrap it up. I don't know. I'm really stuck here. I don't want to be boring, and I'm sure I have more to talk about once I think it. I should write this stuff down and then come on here. This is very like fun to do though. Not fun, but it was like it's a nice, you know. Um, yeah, that's it. I'm sure I'll record something else and put it out here. I have to gather my thoughts though before I gather my thoughts. You know what I mean? I have to do the pre-thinking before I do the actual thinking. And then once I think about what I thought about, I can express what I had been thinking about all along. If that makes any sense. But yeah, I can dive deeper into all these topics. Like I know how I said all these topics, but then I really only talked about one topic, but like there's like branches to it. So I'll see. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow. I'll see how I'm feeling. Um, yeah. But even this is weird. Like I'm sitting here talking to myself. I'm looking at a computer and I'm having like a real conversation. But I've been doing that my whole life in my head. Like I know that sounds weird, and I'm sure I have a lot of like I know I have a lot of mental holes in my game, if you could call it that. But like I'm not schizophrenic. I think it's normal, bro. Like I'm sorry. I like my thoughts. Like I'm just, you know. But that's it for now. Yeah. I hope everybody, if you're seeing this, man, enjoy your life. Don't rush it. Advance. Don't stress. That version of yourself that you see that would be so much happier with all these extreme, you know, uh, risks that they have to take to get to where they are going to be at, which is that pedestal that you put yourself on when you look at an illusion of what you could be. That's not necessarily the case. You don't know how you'd feel if you were in that scenario. You don't know if you would truly be happy, and you don't know if in the path you'd lose a lot of who you really are. So don't stress it. Um, chase what makes you happy, and if you're a healthy man, if you wake up and you don't have any pain, if you don't have to think twice about going throughout your day in terms of like readjusting just to cope with certain uh lingering like demons, like like I don't want to say it like that, but like just bad thoughts suck. So if you're waking up like that, man, you can go throughout your day like that, man. Maybe you're not doing so bad, and uh I don't really do this pose. Let me you know uh maybe you're not so bad, and man, I see what I mean. I'm remembering things that I said earlier, and now I'm like touching back on the mental thing when I'm talking about how I was feeling dull, and like my expression of emotion hadn't been there really, considering of how prominent it was when I was going through the same feelings of you know, death. Like, not to say it like that, but uh, I haven't really felt like much other than when I'm anxious, and that sucks. I recently today felt very sad, which was a shocker. Like, I remember being like, "Oh man, this sucks," but even in it, I was like, "Oh, that's new." I'm sorry, I'm moving my jaw around. All right. That's a part of my injury. Like, I messed up my jaw. All right, so that's way back. But let me focus in. Um, when I get very anxious and I have a panic attack, I go through a lot of emotions, and I wrote it all down for my psychiatrist. It's hard for me to remember it, but it basically, and I haven't had one in a while, so thank God. But that's when I think about a moment where I'm feeling something. That's it. Um, I start feeling panicked, crazy, and then I start like feeling like I gotta get out of here. Like I gotta, like keep me away from any weapon, keep me away. Like if I'm in a car, it's the worst because I'm like, oh no, like I could just, you know what I mean? So, and then it just like it just keeps racing, and you feel like you're level with it. Like you feel like okay, I can maintain this for a little while, and whilst I'm in that, like boom, it like I don't know, it becomes like euphoric. It becomes like super good. Like I'll sit there and I go, all these issues, like screw it. Like just be happy. And I'd go outside and like have the sun touch on me a little bit, and I'd be like, man, it's a beautiful day. Who cares? Right? Like, and then I'll be like very happy with shackles, if that makes any sense. So every happy, like euphoric thought and time that I have within my panic attack would be shackled with like with the shackle of death, if that makes any sense. Like so, all right, this is very confusing. I'm very confusing with the way I'm expressing this. The way I feel was so good because I just felt like all my issues didn't matter anymore because if anything really went wrong, I just end it and it'll be all good. And it gave me such a calming feeling. Like I hate to say it like that. It sounds messed up. It's the truth. And like that's what it was. And man, it's so trippy. I haven't felt happy, like really happy in so long. Like happy like that. And I'd be like, man, and it go from that to and it crashed, like super sad, and then boom, it panicked again. So it was super like mood swingy for like an hour, 2 hours. And then I'd come back down, I'd slowly deteriorate to like depressed. And then I'd level out again. You know what I mean? So yeah, so other than that, I haven't felt much. And when I hang out with friends, I feel, good and I'm enjoying the experience, but it feels like I'm not even like living. Like it almost feels like I'm just distracting myself like I've always done. The chronic procrastinator, right? Um, but yeah, like all right, I brought the mood up just to bring it back down, you know? Um, man, have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good life, man. Enjoy it. Um, if you're feeling bad, like if you're feeling like you're going downhill, talk to someone. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. It can't. If you're at school, if you go to school, you could talk to a guidance counselor. You could talk to your favorite teacher. Um, if you have a good relationship with parents, talk to your parents. If you got good friends, bro, talk to your friends. If you have bad friends, make some good friends so you can talk to your friends, man. You need it. All right? I don't like that either. Don't like I've had a lot of people throughout my life where it feels like they're fighting a battle with their own social circle. Like you should have no um damn, let me backtrack to go forward because I'm just stuttering. You shouldn't have to feel like you're fighting against the people that are supposed to help you in order for you to be in an environment where you're socializing. That shouldn't be it. You should be at ease and you should be feeling like everybody you're around is wishing you the best. You know, And sometimes that doesn't have to be expressed in the craziest way. You don't have to sit down and give each other a round of applause, but just if you're sitting there and you feel a sense of resentment or a bad, undertone to whatever your friend is, whatever person or people that you're around, if there's like a slight negative undertone, you shouldn't have to feel that at all. Your friends should be all the way there for you. And I'm appreciative of the friends that I have that are there. And but like I said, yeah, make some good friends. Talk to your friends. Yeah, I'm bringing it back down. I gotta bring it up. You have a good time. That's it. One love. That's it. That's all you need. Um, you know, experience something good. Strive for that. It's a good goal. It's an obtainable goal. It might be the best goal. It might just be the best goal. So that's it.